Welcome to this segment on who is Gluware. Now, if you've watched some of the other videos from our live stream today, this section is sort of to introduce you to Gluware if you haven't heard of them before. Joining me is Jeff Gray. He is the CEO of Gluware. Hi, Jeff. Now, first of all, let's kick off with let's get the basics out of the way. Give me the elevator pitch around the Gluware product.
Gluware is reinventing networking for the cloud era. We're a software company that has created a highly intelligent layer of automation that gives you out-of-the-box functionality, rapid time to value, all the benefits of the most declarative, idempotent network automation that you can dream of across traditional API controller as well as cloud, and you can develop on top and customize it yourself.
So one of the things I like about Gluware is that you can actually pack every single one of those buzzwords into the product. And they're accurately true to some extent, right? It is intent-based networking. It is modeling driven. All those other buzzwords that you just threw out there. So let's just break that down a little bit. So Gluware is a software package that runs over the top of anybody's equipment. And that is one of the key features I think that customers like about it, because the simple reality is most networks are in place. And there's a lot of software-defined something that says, oh, well, you have to go and buy new infrastructure. You have to go and replace it all. And with this new modern stuff, but that's not necessarily, and specifically in this era with supply chain problems, maybe Gluware is the right answer for more people.
We have had an influx of business because we've been able to help customers in the midst of this pandemic, in the midst of the supply chain issues and the chip shortage. And the core invention of Gluware, the core intellectual property, is the ability to detect state and detect understanding of what exists in the network, create a digital twin, create an exact replica to be able to understand and create a data model. That exposes vulnerabilities, it exposes the problems. But instead of just pointing out the problems, we actually allow users to clean the problems and cleanse the network and bring it back to gold standard and then keep it clean. And Greg, it's not just about the current traditional environment. It's about being able to have this layer of automation that's extensible into future and modern architectures as well.
So this is this idea where you read the network, you have your model. I can then do something on the model and then push that change back to the network. Now that is the heart of the product. But the second part about this is that Gluware is also a tool in its own right. So what we're seeing emerge is these software-defined controllers or the intent-based networking tools are actually then becoming a package for configuring and operating the network going forward. And part of what we've talked about in today's session is this idea of Gluware as part of a CI/CD development chain or part of an infrastructure as code. So you put Gluware on top of your network. You can start to configure your network to do basic SDN functions like configuration management, configuration of the devices, audit, logging, configuration backups, all that type of stuff. But now you can take it a step further and say, well, I am now presenting APIs up. So you can now use me in your Python script or as part of a help desk application, that type of thing. And it's really changing the way I think about SDN, I think.
Well, this is what I'm so excited about today's session because we have two of our most sophisticated customers. And it's not just about the initial out-of-the-box functionality and creating a layer of automation on what they have in Gluware functionality that we've developed. They're actually extending our platform and developing and customizing themselves. So it's going to be a wonderful day. I'm very, very excited for the world to hear what our customers are doing.
Now, one thing that you and I talked about, and we sort of had a little bit of a surprise, was we realized that Gluware not only works for your on-prem network or the network that you operate in, whether it's a WAN or a data center or a campus, it also works for configuring the cloud as well. And although not so many customers are into the cloud yet, that is definitely a direction where networking happens wherever it is. We're seeing spontaneous eruptions of networking all over the place. The campus, the branch, the SD-WAN, the SASE, cloud. Is Gluware ready for that public cloud, that off-prem cloud capability as well?
Absolutely. And one of the things that I'm also extremely excited about is we have the world's first CCIE that passed the written and oral exam. Terry Slattery will take us all the way from the beginning, all the way to the cloud era. Mm-hmm. And cloud is not that networking friendly. And we decided not to reinvent the wheel and rediscover fire and create our own virtual router. It's about being able to make calls and be able to customize and automate the cloud providers that are out there and have that as an extension of your core network. So Gluware is all about being futurable and solving your problems now, and then setting the foundation for self-operating as we move into the future. So it's going to be a very exciting time as we continue to grow the company.
And one last thing, Gluware supports finger-defined networking. And what I mean about that is if you're the type of person that likes to see the CLI, you want to see the commands, Gluware generates that and shows it to you so that you can see what's happening, right?
We don't hide it. And this has been a key element for the network engineers and operators out there to trust that Gluware is actually doing what we say we do. And so the ability to go out and have a print preview, but see the command line and how the routers and switches, et cetera, are responding, but also give the engineers the ability to roll out and be able to update the networks that they know and love and that they've built without hiding the CLI. So we actually expose it, but it's futurable. So
yeah, and this is something we've talked about because Gluware has been, Gluware and packet pushers have been together for a long time now. And back in the early days, one of the best features of Gluware was this ability to configure something and then unconfigure it. And that is, and for many networking devices, that is not intuitively just undo that. You actually have to have one command sequence to implement and a completely different command sequence to unimplement. And this is what I mean about finger-defined networking is if you're going to make yourself comfortable on that brown field, like we'll talk more about the gold field, this idea that vendors want to turn your network into a gold mine or a gold field. But Gluware lets you work with what's in place and starts implementing it and automating it. And I think that's the key feature that I like. You can start and then iterate over that over time. And then, as we said, you go on into infrastructure as code. All right. Well, thanks very much, Jeff. Hopefully, if you've been listening to this and you're interested in this, if you want to find out more about Gluware, go over to gluware.com/packetpushers and you'll be able to find more information there. And do tell them that we sent you because they'd like to know where you found out about them. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Greg. Thank you all.